SEO lives in its own bubble, which is completely in a parallel universe from the commercial side of the business. Funnel traffic is getting cut off, that's for sure, and we are seeing it. Whether that be because of AI overviews, we all know the latest effect that Ahrefs branded as the great decoupling, which is when impressions go up and clicks go down. We're seeing the top of the funnel traffic go down. But the question is, for each business, how much, if and how much the sales and the revenue go down? SEO was the Wild West. We were selling top of the funnel traffic and fat traffic numbers many times because of programmatic pages as success. And to me, that was unethical because it wasn't contributing to business growth. What I always say is that I'm not looking for the perfect attribution model. I just take whatever attribution model makes sense for a specific business, and I try to grow the percentage of sales that fall under organic. I try to grow that specific portion. I'm not looking for perfect attribution. Do not search for the perfect attribution because this is unrealistic and, in my eyes, an excuse. Just a simple tweak in your meta title and your H1 could save you thousands of pounds in affiliate commissions, because right now you're paying your affiliates money to send you your branded traffic and conversions back. Find the terms that drive the most high value customers, drive the most conversions, drive the most revenue, and then go and check how you rank on those. And if you don't rank well enough, do your thing.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Search with Candour. I am your host, as always, Jack Chambers Ward, and this week I am joined by the one and only Alex Galinos. We're going to talk all about how to actually make revenue from your SEO strategies. Alex has been doing SEO for a very, very long time and making a lot of money for the company he works for and the clients he's worked with. So hopefully you'll get an idea of how to basically get revenue-driven strategy ideas and where to focus your efforts when it comes to doing modern SEO in 2025. Of course, if you don't already know, this is the podcast called Search with Candour, where I interview the best and brightest minds across SEO and digital marketing. And if you haven't already, and if you're watching on YouTube, please do give us a like and subscribe down below. I would hugely appreciate that. You can also follow us and comment on Spotify. Got a couple of comments last week that I really appreciated, talking about the topic I did with Alex Wright, talking about organic shopping feeds and the future of Google shopping and all that kind of stuff. So if you haven't checked out last week's episode, go and check that out with another fellow Alex last week as well. And of course, I'll be back next week with the one and only Seb Atkinson back in the Candour studio once again. And it's a really nice companion piece to this conversation with Alex this week. Seb's going to talk about a specific example of his content strategy that allows him to show value of the SEO work he's doing for his clients to his clients. So it's a really nice kind of follow-up, and Seb and I are actually back in the Candour studio in person, much like the episodes I do with Mark, because Seb is local to us in Norwich, and it's really nice to record in person, basically. Anyway, without any further ado, here is my conversation with Alex Galinos, and quickly, a word from our sponsors. Are you tired of struggling to build links for your clients? Well, let me tell you about the link building solutions from today's sponsor, Serpzilla. Serpzilla is a quick and easy way to get high quality backlinks from over 150,000 websites and a variety of options to fit your specific needs and budgets. Serpzilla has rolled out some amazing new features that will save you time and resources, including their new shopping cart feature. You can select guest posts, prepare everything perfectly, and then pay later once you're ready. This is the ideal method of planning consistent promotion and building your backlink profile long term. Next up is the updated favorites section. You can now manage and customize lists of donor websites, categorizing them to your preferences and liking, and easily export those lists as well. No more sifting through endless lists of websites. You can easily keep track of the favorite websites that are most relevant to you and your clients. Serpzilla has officially announced a strategic integration with SEMrush, one of the world's top digital marketing platforms, which helps businesses of all sizes boost their online visibility and grow their brand. Thanks to this partnership, Serpzilla users now have direct access to SEMrush-powered data all within the Serpzilla interface. The integration enhances Serpzilla with fresh backlink data, including website traffic estimates, backlink quality metrics, and comprehensive SEO metrics like authority score, a well-rounded metric for assessing domain strength and trust. It helps SEOs and digital marketers identify high-value opportunities and make smarter link-building decisions. Serpzilla is better than ever thanks to their strategic partnership with SEMrush. Getting started with Serpzilla is incredibly easy. You can register in as little as 2 minutes, and you only pay once the links are confirmed, and for rental links, you only pay for the days that the link is live. Visit serpzilla.com today to learn more and schedule your free consultation. That's serpzilla.com and get your free demo and consultation today. A huge thank you to Serpzilla for sponsoring Search with Candour.
Hi everyone, it's Sarah from the SEO Mindset podcast.
And it's Desmond from the SEO Mindset podcast.
And Jack from Search with Candour.
We are back. The SEO Mindset and Search with Candour podcasts are joining forces once again to bring you a live podcast where the title is Social Health is Key to Career Success. We'll be recording an episode live in front of an audience, and we want you to be part of the experience.
That means there'll be an opportunity for Q&A, so you can really actually be part of the podcast, and it'll also be live streamed on Silicon Brighton's YouTube channel as well, so you can tune in even if you're not there in person. And of course, it will be recorded and released on both of our podcast feeds, so you can get it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Amazon Music, all the usual podcast platforms.
So what are all those important details, I hear you ask? Firstly, who's it for? It's for both attendees of the conference and speakers who want to know how to elevate their social health. We'll be giving you practical tips, advice, and sharing our own experiences. The event will be again at Project The Lanes. The date is Wednesday, 22nd of October, and the time 7 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Tickets are free, so head to the Eventbrite link, which, depending on where this is posted, it will be somewhere around my face, down below. You know the drill. Food, drinks, and snacks are included with the ticket, so get there early to avoid missing out.
So if you're going to be in Brighton on the 22nd of October, even if you're not attending Brighton SEO Conference, but if you are, I'd encourage you to come along. You can get your tickets now. Past events, I think the last 3 have sold out, by the way. So you need to act now and get your tickets early to avoid disappointment. And to quote a friend of both podcasts, the one and only Matt Coley, getting tickets for this live is like trying to get tickets for Glastonbury. That is a direct quote from Matt Coley. So you know they are in hot demand. And we'll see you on the 22nd of October in Brighton. My guest this week is an international digital marketing expert who you may recognize from speaking at events such as Zagreb SEO Summit, SEO Vibes, and the ECDM Expo, as well as appearances on podcasts such as Market Movers, SEO On Air, and the SEO Leadership Podcast. He is the co-founder of Parents Hub and the head of SEO at Hoppa. Welcome to the show, Alex Galinos.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on, man. I know we've been chatting for a little while, going back and forth and planning this topic, and you came straight away with, as I was saying just before we started recording, something that I think a lot of people are going to kind of take for granted and not realize how important this topic is. And it feels like this will hopefully kind of cut through a lot of the noise we've been talking about a lot in the industry recently, because you pitched the topic of revenue-focused SEO and how driving SEO growth and business, not just focusing on traffic, but actually getting monetary value from your SEO is important. And I think that is a very, very important topic to talk about. And I guess I'll hand it straight over to you with why you wanted to talk about this topic and what you think revenue-driven SEO is.
Yeah, so first of all, what I've always found very, very weird about SEO is that we talked about this before the podcast, but I've always found weird that SEO, although a user acquisition channel, has traditionally relied on things like traffic and rankings and the typical checklist type of SEO, technical reports and things essentially that do not are not aligned with what the business cares about. So we usually define success in metrics that mean nothing to stakeholders in the business. We focus on SEO metrics. We turn them into KPIs that, of course, are usually SEO specific. And most times, what I've seen is that we even do not take the time to make some sort of connection between how improvements in any of those metrics slash SEO success criteria correlate with actual business impact. And I think that based on my experience, this is the root, let's say, of the misalignment between the business and SEO. The fact that each side cares about different things. Also, I think that we kind of tend to train stakeholders in this way, that this is what SEO is about. So if you define SEO in those metrics, then stakeholders on the other end expect SEO to be this thing. So in other words, they paint the picture that SEO is traffic. SEO is not sales. It's not revenue. It's not, SEO does not care where we make our money from, where we have the best margins, or whatever the business model type. In my eyes, these SEO metrics are just means to an end. They are just byproducts that should contribute to a bigger goal. And the goal, as that of every acquisition channel, is to either, number one, directly drive business growth, or two, assist in driving business growth. So I think that it's very, very important to sit down with a business, to understand the business model, understand how the business makes money, ask, aside from SEO specific questions, all the right commercial questions and questions about important products, services, product categories. Then agree on those KPIs that make sense both from a business perspective and an SEO perspective, and then define what success looks like in SEO. I think that's how you build trust with stakeholders and C-level, and that's how you get budget increases when you ask for those.
Yeah, absolutely. I was having a conversation with one of our e-commerce clients the other day, and I framed it in a very similar way as you're saying there. I had a conversation about, well, what products are not only making you the most revenue, but have the highest profit margins. And we should be focusing on these product pages, like optimizing a product page that has a much higher profit margin is going to be more beneficial in the long run than optimizing 10 that have a 1% profit margin. And the client was like, I've never really had that conversation. They'd worked with an agency previously, maybe multiple agencies. It's like, I'd never had that conversation with an SEO before. And I was like, yeah, because a lot of people, like you said, focus on, we can get you traffic, we can get you backlinks, we can get you all this stuff. But actually prioritizing and focusing on the commercial side of things, exactly as you're saying there, Alex, is exactly how you have those conversations with C-suite people and marketing managers and clients and stakeholders. And you get their buy-in and investment because you're suddenly talking money.
Their
and that's
language,
where exactly the language of business, exactly right. And it's such a powerful way to reframe and re-angle the conversation. But I think for me, clients have reacted so well to those conversations that it makes a huge difference when it comes to, oh yeah, we can optimize 100 product pages, or really, really focus on 10 that are already making you money and already have a high profit margin. That could be the difference between making a little bit of money and, oh, look, the rankings for all those pages are going up. Great, cool, congratulations. They're not making you any money. Whereas a slight improvement in something that is already doing well can make a huge difference. So I guess from your experience, like angling that towards the commercial side of things and the revenue focus side of things, is that where you come in with that initial conversation with clients, with that onboarding process, you establish those business KPIs and metrics and stuff like that to then build upon that with your strategies, right?
I think that the whole, if I had to put this in a, let's say, a top level, a bird's eye view perspective, is that to get the full benefit from SEO as a service, is you have to look at where the search demand is. Number one, because sometimes the search demand might be in product or product categories that you might not be having insane profit margins, for example. But this is 50% of the puzzle. The other 50% of the puzzle is to ask for insights or even for specific reports. For example, I always like to talk to departments like the BI department of a company, if they have one, and get actual BI reports, business reports, to see how their profit margins are on specific products, specific product categories, and then essentially combine those two worlds, the SEO world where the search demand is, and then the business world where they're making the most money from, and then formulate, let's say, the plan of action. I think that's where you get the most from SEO as a service. And that's usually what doesn't happen is what doesn't happen. And it's actually what I find really weird, the fact that it's like SEO lives in its own bubble, which is completely in a parallel universe from, the commercial side of the business. And also I remember having a discussion with a well-known UK guru, not Mark, your Mark, some other person, and he was saying to me something very valid: the fact that traditionally people in SEO have not been exposed to this commercial way of viewing things in SEO. So if you haven't had those, let's say, experiences of, there's this side of SEO as well, then it's very, very difficult to get away from the traffic side of things, because this is the default. This is where we tend to resort to, because that's what we've been taught, to move to this other place of, how we can actually benefit the business.
Yeah, 100%. And I think you said that search demand, and I think that's a really good way of angling that and framing that with, because I think we've been so focused on keywords, and I think thankfully as an industry we are moving away from just the simple basic kind of what queries are you ranking for kind of thing, and moving more towards search demand, search intent, actual understanding of why people search for what they search for. And obviously this is shifting. I'm going to do the thing. We're 9 minutes into the show. We're going to talk about AI and LLMs. I'm sorry, everybody, but the way people are searching is changing, right? It is shifting towards a more conversational side of things. And a few conversations I've had on the show recently have been talking about that kind of intent and demand behind the kind of questions you would put into a chat GPT search or an AI mode compared to a traditional Google search. So from your perspective, Alex, does that kind of shift in the way we search factor into this revenue focused SEO kind of model, and does that change how you will approach your strategy over the next few years?
Because of AI, you mean?
Yeah.
So right now, to me, and I think to everyone, this is very, very unclear. We do have these first, let's say, studies, the things that we learn about every day, and every day this thing keeps, changing. The way I approach things is that when it comes to revenue focused SEO, is the fact that I'm going backwards. So just to kind of, I realized that I didn't answer the previous question, just to give you an idea of, what actually, how actually revenue focused SEO works, is the fact that it relies a lot on things like custom reporting, advanced reporting, either on Looker Studio or whatever other platform, each person chooses. And it gives you insights down to the marketing channel level, and then also to the page level, on both traditional SEO metrics, like, for example, organic sessions, but also on business metrics. So, for example, we have reports at Hoppa that allow us to get to down to the channel level to see how many sales we get for the organic channel, how much revenue we get for the organic channel, how much margin we get for the organic channel, what's the average transactional value for the organic channel for a given period, what's the average margin value, and we go all the way down to the net profit level per marketing channel. And then we are able to bring this down to the page level for most of those metrics. So the way this works is essentially that you work your way backwards and you find the pages, the actual pages that produce you the biggest margin, for example, or bring you the most high value customers. And then you work your way backwards and you check your performance on those pages, your rankings, and then you say, okay, what else can I do to milk that cow even further? Because that specific cow is giving me high value clients. So how are my rankings? If I'm ranking, I don't know, bottom of page 1, then I have much room to cover. So just to get back to your question about AI mode, to me, it's kind of unclear right now. And the way I'm approaching this for the specific industry that I'm in right now, which is travel, and for the specific sub-niche that I'm in, which is the travel transportation niche, which is what we do at Hoppa, is that I'm trying to see how much traffic we're getting from there. And right now it's peanuts, essentially. Of course, this is bound to grow. I'm not saying that we are not doing anything, because right now the situation is that we get nothing from LLMs. But we are monitoring the situation. And then we are essentially experimenting with all the different tools on the market right now to see, what our presence is right now on different platforms like ChatGPT. We're obviously monitoring things like mentions, like, whatever other visibility metric each tool uses. For example, right now I'm using the brand radar tool from Ahrefs. So essentially, my way of thinking is that I'm trying to reverse engineer how we're doing right now and what we can do once the search demand on those specific platforms for our specific industry starts giving us more demand, and as a result, further wiggle room to play with, to kind of see, what we can do there, how we can, improve our presence. Obviously, everyone knows that there are certain things that LLMs pay specific attention to, like, your reputation, like, based on recent studies, your brand mentions. For example, there was a recent study by Ahrefs which surprisingly found that brand mentions hold even greater weighting as opposed to branded links, which is something that, up until that point, we thought the opposite. We were always trying to, turn the unlinked brand mentions to linked brand mentions. So to me, it's relatively unclear right now. I'm not going to lie. I'm just observing the situation. I'm following all the recent studies. I am, monitoring essentially what we get from those platforms and trying to chase our steps a bit. I don't think that a lot will change in the sense that, those platforms have to direct users to your website to perform the conversions. So the question here is that, top of the funnel traffic is getting cut off. That's for sure. And we are seeing it, whether that be because of AI overviews. We all know the latest effect that Ahrefs branded as the great decoupling, which is when impressions go up and clicks go down. We're seeing the top of the funnel traffic go down. But the question is, for each business, how much, if and how much the sales and the revenue go down? I think that's the question. And to be honest, that should have been the case, um, forever, because for many years, I think that SEO was the Wild West. We were selling, top of the funnel traffic and fab traffic numbers many times because of programmatic pages as success. And to me, that was unethical because it wasn't contributing to business growth. So it's a change that I very happily embraced, and it's just because I've been preaching revenue focused SEO for many years now. Even before it was trendy to preach conversions as opposed to traffic, and people were actually kind of challenging me and even bashing me, saying that, yeah, you're saying about things like sales and revenue and stuff like that, but we have a global attribution problem, and we have a lot of sales that are not attributed to organic. So how can you say that you do revenue focused SEO when some of the sales that organic brings in go to direct, go to unassigned and stuff like that? And what I always say is that I'm not looking for the perfect attribution model. I just take whatever attribution model makes sense for a specific business, and I try to grow the percentage of sales that fall under organic. I try to grow that specific portion. I'm not looking for perfect attribution. It's a waste of time.
100%. Yeah, I think we're obviously moving away from a lot of the access to data that we've had since Universal Analytics turned into GA4, and now we're seeing less data from AI mode and things like that in Search Console these days. I think we're going to have to get away from...
Honestly, it's a shithole.
We're going to have to get away from that kind of attribution side of things, and like you said, rethink the way we approach that. And I love what you said earlier, to pick up on what you said earlier about us SEOs being a bit guilty of isolating ourselves and working in silos, right? And not understanding the bigger picture of what is actually driving business success and actually contributing to the revenue of the business. From that sort of things, you mentioned conversions as well. I guess that's kind of where I'm going with the relationship between SEO and conversion rate optimization, because I will have a lot of conversations with clients where we will talk about, oh yeah, we've got traffic coming to this site, but it's not converting, and they come to us as an agency to talk about that, or conversations like that internally when I worked in house as well. That element for me, I think, is becoming more and more relevant to the SEO world, and more of a conversation that we need to be educated in and aware of and kind of contributing to, right? And I think you yourself exactly have been leading that charge and carrying the flag for a lot of that conversation already, right? So do you think there are kind of instances where a lot of the industry needs to catch up with a lot of that stuff and kind of upskill ourselves into better understanding CRO and how conversions actually work?
Yeah, for sure. I've been right now. My role at Hoppa is head of SEO, but I also unofficially serve as SEO product manager, which essentially means that whatever. First of all, let me just say that I'm not a CRO expert, in no way. What I know is what I've learned on the job by working on different projects. So I'm not going to say that, I brand myself as a CRO expert. Just because I've happened to have led many redesigns, specifically for Hoppa. For example, we have been redesigning different page templates. When I joined Hoppa, for example, our blog was frankly, I was about to cry when I started blog when I joined. Nothing was right. I mean, from a tech SEO perspective, from a CRO perspective. So I thought, there's no way in trying to fix certain things. Let's just, delete it from the ground up and rebuild it. So I've led many different projects of that type, redesigns, and I think that just because traffic is being taken away from us, the traffic that has been left to us, we have to make the most and get as much sales from that traffic as we possibly can. So I think that there is some sort of overlap between SEO and CRO. And what I mean by this is that, for example, supposedly that we dig into the redesign of a specific page template, like a product category page for e-commerce. How CRO can benefit from SEO is the fact that it can benefit a lot from the keyword research phase of SEO. So if we map the queries that people use to search for things that we map to a specific page template, like a product category page, then we can give that information to a CRO team and we can say to them, okay, this is what people are searching for. How can you better present that information on that specific page template so that we get most of the traffic that comes into this page? For example, if people on a specific product category page, like, I don't know, baby strollers, for example, are searching for baby stroller deals or offers, can we put like a simple, I don't know, button somewhere at the top of the page so that, number one, we can internally link to that specific page. We can create a unique page that then we can use for SEO, but at the same time, it will be very, very high up on the viewport for the users to be able to easily locate and then click on there and potentially be redirected to the specific page with the offers for that specific category. So in my head, the two principles can get insights from one another and can work, in combination, so that, number one, we get more traffic, and then number two, we convert that traffic better.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that is a conversation a lot of SEOs have when it comes to internal linking and stuff like that. I think that is a big thing we're kind of aware of. But for me, that feels like it very directly ties into a lot of that conversion rate stuff, right? When you're actually trying to guide a user to, as you said earlier, like a specific page, a high converting page, whether that's coming directly off of the SERP or whether that's they're landing on an informational piece and you're guiding them towards commercial pages. For me, that's always been a really good strategy and approach for getting sort of informational content to work in an e-commerce setting and stuff like that, working with really, really strong kind of building those topical connections and clusters with internal linking and CTAs and stuff like that. Do you think that is an approach that is going to be more important as we see, like you said, the drop off of traffic? You're going to need
Definitely.
to, as you said, like milk and squeeze every penny out of every click now, right?
Definitely. And to be honest, some of the things that I'm seeing, and this has helped. What has helped me a lot is I was 5 years in the gambling industry, which for those that have worked in the gambling industry, it's like they will not, in terms of, especially in the affiliate side of things, they will implement all the CRO best practices that you can possibly get, just because they don't like to lose conversions. So one of the things, for example, that I always, this is a classic, I guess, CRO mistake, the fact that we redesign a specific page template with desktop in mind, but we always miss the mobile version. So the desktop looks great, but then we're a B2C business. So we have 80% of our traffic from mobile. And this is a classic one because, the desktop version, you have, for example, conversion widgets or CTAs or stuff like that, that the user finds as they scroll, as they go further down the page. But then on mobile, this takes ages to get to that widget. So the classic thing that everyone misses is that just pick one of those widgets and just make it sticky on mobile. And this is based on my experience, something that pretty much everyone misses, and a major conversion rate booster.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot of that. And yeah, like you said, not factoring in different approaches to mobile and desktop. I think we're seeing more and more, and we're seeing this with the SERPs as well, that initial landing viewport becomes more and more important as users are having more access to other things. Like if I don't get the answer or the thing I'm looking for as soon as your page loads, and like you said, if I have to scroll and scroll and scroll, that's a pretty frustrating user experience, where instead I can find something from one of your competitors that is just straight away the thing that I'm looking for, and the product or the service or whatever it is, the answer to my search intent is straight away at the top of the page there. And I think this is also true for SERPs, right? We're seeing from featured snippets now through to AOs and now through to AI mode, like so much of that initial page load of a SERP is taken up by other stuff that isn't those nice little 10 blue links we're so used to in SEO. You've got so much more competition for attention and literal real estate on the screen, right? And I think for me, that's where it comes to conversion rates and click-through rates and all that kind of thing, is how can you stand out against everything else, all that noise, all that other stuff that is going on, and actually kind of prove yourself as a worthy, I guess is the phrase I'm looking for, a worthy source of information or products or services. And I think to link back to what you're saying earlier as well about the nature of people becoming kind of long-term customers as well, you've got that lifetime value of a customer as well, right? When it comes to attribution and stuff, a very, very difficult thing to attribute is, oh yeah, we received a click from an organic search a year ago, and that person has created an account with us and has since, bought £10,000 worth of stuff. That is a very difficult thing. If you're not doing really, really good attribution and not really paying attention to it through your CRM and through your CMS, you can really lose that kind of stuff. And for me, I think that is where the difference between, especially conversations with stakeholders, as you were saying earlier, Alex, that for me is where the difference is going to be between good SEO and bad SEO, and the kind of people that can get buy-in and investments, and the kind of people that are going to say, sorry, your traffic's down, nothing I can do, see you later, bye. And all the clients and stakeholders don't want to work with you anymore, right?
I think, just to name some of the well-known gurus, I mostly lean towards people like Tim Sulu from Ahrefs and Rand Fishkin, where, those people are not trying to, find the perfect attribution. Sometimes they might even, make certain, activations that they are not properly tracking, things like ROI and stuff like that. We've gotten to the point where we've become too much data driven, and we use the lack of enough data, whatever we interpret as enough data, as the excuse to not move forward with things. So yeah, just pick one attribution model, like I said, and just move forward with what you're doing, track sales, track revenue, track whatever other KPI based on your business model, and just try to make more of that, grow that specific portion, whatever is attributed to organic. Do not search for the perfect attribution, because this is unrealistic, and in my eyes, an excuse, because when you when you report on business metrics, then you are held accountable on business metrics. And then you do not have excuses like, oh, the algorithm changed and this is why traffic dropped. Oh, I don't know what people in PPC say, that the algorithm has to learn and stuff like that. So I'm not saying that these are 100% excuses. It's the fact that we use certain points to kind of not be held accountable for things. Whereas if you report on business metrics, you're held accountable. So you have to justify your position. Why did sales drop?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a bigger conversation that people are having about that kind of thing. Like you said, the great decoupling side of things, we're seeing how do you assign value to impressions in the same way that you would to a click.
This is outrageous to me. This is outrageous. I mean, the argument about impressions is outrageous. It's like people learned nothing, and this went even worse. So we got from clicks to impressions. Instead of going to the right way, we went the opposite direction. How we can sell the C-level impressions,
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, for example, we see a lot in podcasting where the advertising rates and all that kind of stuff are based on impression. So how many average views or average downloads or listens or whatever you're likely to get on an episode, this is how much we will pay you. And like my talk coming up at Brighton SEO in October is very much on this topic of how we are going to kind of monetize that, and how how you can actually drive revenue when you're getting fewer clicks or zero clicks, right? And exactly as you're saying there, Alex, like if we get stuck in the attribution side of things and we're not actually focusing on the users at the other end of it, then I think we could see a lot of people get in a lot of trouble, especially in the publishing industry where they have relied on clicks and ad revenue and all that kind of stuff for so long. If they don't adapt and change, there could be some, I mean, we even saw it with the 2023 helpful content update, right? In September 2023, where so many businesses were like, okay, yeah, we've been affected by this Google update. It has put us out of business because we had all of our eggs in one basket in organic search and we've not thought about it from a wider business perspective.
Yeah.
Do you think more businesses need to be thinking outside of just the organic search side of things when it comes to that revenue, when it comes to business goals and things like that? Because we're going to see almost guaranteed at this point a drop off in, like you said, that top of funnel high search volume type stuff that we've gotten so comfortable with optimizing for over the last 10-15 years. Do you think businesses need to rethink their strategies and kind of branch out a little bit in that way?
100%. I mean, in my eyes, whatever the scenario is where you put all your eggs in one basket is not acceptable. And, this is what what we're seeing internally in my in-house role, the fact that if you have reliance on a specific, on sales from a specific country, on sales from a specific language subfolder, on sales from a specific destination, whatever the reliance, it's not good in any case. And specifically for the travel industry, this is I guess kind of inevitable because certain companies are doing better, for example, in summer destinations. Some others are more winter destinations. And this is the challenge to be able to cover the full spectrum of seasons, let's say, because what are you going to do in the winter if you have too much reliance on summer destinations? You cannot be expecting to somehow generate demand and destinations that by nature do not have demand in the winter. So, mind you, of course, it's one thing to say that and a whole different thing to actually implement it, because at least from an SEO point of view, too many moving pieces, and in the eyes of Google, you have a certain traditional, let's say, signal with specific, with doing good in specific countries and specific products and specific, areas and stuff like that. But the important thing is to at least put in place some sort of strategy that year after year will start, being better and better and better. And at some point, that seasonality will start reducing.
Yeah, definitely. Funny enough, I had a e-commerce client a few years ago who, I can't remember the exact numbers. It's been a while, but I think it was about 60% of their annual revenue was done at Christmas time, because they had a particular range that was just
Yeah.
so definitive for their brand and so Christmas focused. And that basically meant like everything else we were doing from late August onwards was like, right, stop everything else. It's all Christmas. Like you need to, there is no point doing any, try to get any dev tickets completed or anything like that. You are just going to be stuck talking about Christmas for the next 4 months.
Yeah.
And I had this conversation with them exactly as you were saying there, right? Like, that's great. Like, congratulations. You have clearly got a very successful product range there, but maybe think about the kind of things you could be making money from in February through to September. And it was a really interesting conversation where they had like been so focused on that part of the year and kind of just coasted along for the rest of the year, when we actually had that conversation of, okay, you can actually be doing so much more with these category pages and this approach and that approach and all that kind of stuff. They were like, we hadn't even considered kind of expanding upon that and taking that opportunity. And like you said, making yourself season proof almost in a way where you can, and of course, as you said, especially relevant in the travel industry, as your experience working at Hoppa, there's such a clear kind of, like you said, you can't manufacture demand. You can't manufacture people wanting to travel to a destination or buy a product or whatever it is. You've got to understand the problem and solution kind of mentality when it comes to searching. You can't just conjure a solution when there isn't a problem, because you're not solving anything. And for me, I think that's a lot of businesses kind of come in with that solution first approach and not actually think about, well, why would people care? Why would people buy this? Do people actually want or need this in their lives, kind of thing, right? That's marketing 101, right? It feels like I feel like we're coming back around in a big way, a big circle to foundational kind of marketing stuff these days.
I guess it's very hard for businesses to move away from what they are used to. And if something feels safe and has traditionally worked, this is what they resort to. But the challenge is to convince them that there are many other things that you can do. For example, a specific case Hoppa has kind of used to have before I joined, a high seasonality, so they were doing very, very good in the summer, and then in the winter, obviously not as much demand. So one of the things that I tried to set up when I joined was to set up a winter strategy, because in the winter people go to for city breaks. They go to winter cities like Krakow, like I don't know, Munich, the drill. And then there's also this whole other area of destinations, which are the ski resorts, the ski destinations, which mind you, and this is where the commercial aspect comes in. These destinations have a 10 to 15 times bigger average booking value than our regular booking value. So I was like, why are we trying to, get more bookings from, I don't know, Mallorca in the winter, when there's like, I don't know, thousands of other destinations that people are traveling to in the winter. So, businesses resort to their own ways. And I think that it takes time and a lot of convincing to make them realize that we're not going to ditch what you guys were doing up until now. We're just going to add things on top of this to alleviate your depression in the winter when sales drop, which of course takes time.
Of course. Yeah, absolutely. And that funny enough, I think that links round to what we were talking about earlier about profit margins and stuff as well, right? Again, another example from one of my clients previously, having a conversation with them about the kind of services that they sell and what is the value of a customer and a client and all that kind of stuff. And they were working with big commercial projects, like their clients were multinational companies that spend tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of pounds per project with this company. So a single conversion can be millions of pounds pretty easily. So it turns into a whole conversation of like, right, so we really need to think about the volume isn't necessarily the issue here.
The issue,
As we're saying earlier,
yeah,
it's that quality of traffic, right?
yeah, yeah,
What is the chance that somebody is actually going to, you can get, a million people visit your website, but if they're not the right people who are actually going to, in this case, it was architects and project leaders and foremen for big like construction companies and stuff like that. That's the target audience who are going to be partnering with this company. I'm not that, so I'm not the target audience, and I might find, an article or a commercial page or whatever, but I'm not going to spend that money. I'm not going to be the converting one. And for me, it was really kind of eye-opening in the the lifetime value we talked about earlier, right? Like a single click can be worth so much
yeah,
when those things matter. And like you said there, a ski resort holiday can be 10 times more in
yeah,
terms
for
of
sure,
revenue
yeah,
than a quick city break or whatever. And restructuring that and rethinking that and being open to having those conversations, like, okay, yeah, you can optimize for the whole product range or the whole thing or get as much traffic as you want, but actually driving a conversion to the right person is the difference,
the
right?
game,
That is
yeah.
the game changer.
And this is what's not talked about enough. I mean, uh, you know, I'm not. I'm not objecting to all those technicalities about AI and your query found outs and all that stuff. Obviously, all that is very, very interesting and it's new. But for example, the other day I just found out that a major company called Trainline, you might have heard of it,
I know
which they
Trainline, yeah,
sell, yeah, massive company. They have like 20 million organic, and half of it is non-branded. And on their discount codes page, so people are searching for Trainline discount codes. So
yep,
brand name
yeah,
plus discount codes, which is a pretty classical search pattern, especially for the travel industry, and especially if it's in the company's marketing tactics. And what I found out is that although people were searching for Trainline discount code, they were targeting in their meta title and their H1 something closely relevant, but not that specific search pattern. As a result, their affiliates were ranking number one, and they were ranking number six. And I'm thinking to myself, because I've been in this case, and this is how I found out about this, that just a simple tweak in your meta title and your H1 could save you thousands of pounds in
yeah.
affiliate commissions, because right now you're paying your affiliates money to send you your branded traffic and conversions back. When you can just go to your CMS, just put the term code in your meta title in your H1, and then potentially your body copy, and that's it. You're ranking number one. And I've been in that case because it's quite funny story actually. Maybe
Yeah.
we'll say some other time.
You should always be worried if people are outranking you for branded terms. I know with I've had the opposite happen where I've had nice conversations with clients like, by the way, we're outranking this company for this branded term, and be like, haha. I had a like a medical kind of client in that kind of industry, in that kind of space, that was outranking NHS for NHS branded terms, and I was like, yes. That was a nice thing to be able to
Yeah.
report onto
These
the
are
client, like,
typical.
see, I
Yeah,
know
yeah,
we're not talking about specifically reporting rankings and stuff, but it's still fun, right? And I think it
yeah,
then, exactly as you were saying there, it's not just about the ranking. It's not just ha ha ha, I can outrank your competitors with branded terms because I'm good at SEO. It is That's the difference between paying people for your affiliate codes and not paying them, and saving thousands in the long run. That can make a huge, huge difference, even if it seems like, you're just outranking people for branded terms. That can be tons and tons of money and a big part of your business shifting, but like you said, with a single page title or a single little shift in your body copy. I think a lot of people kind of underestimate a lot of that when it comes to especially the branded side of things. I think brand has become very much a buzzword in SEO this year. We're all talking about it when it comes to the LLM and AI mode side of things. But you're right. It's totally relevant for traditional SERP stuff as well, right? When it comes to branded search, when it comes to, like we're saying, those high converting kind of customers, the kind of users that are already looking for your brand, already the intent is there to be more likely to purchase from you, to more likely to go to you specifically. And then, as you were saying earlier, Alex, like thinking outside of the organic channel into like direct traffic and stuff as well, right? You see a growth in direct traffic, you're like, okay, that's an increase in brand search. That's an increase in brand awareness. People are clearly going straight to you for the source of information, products, whatever. And again, having this conversation with clients, like we are seeing an increase in direct traffic. Actually, that's a good thing. Don't see that as a negative if it's taking away from SEO or PPC or whatever it is. I think you can have that conversation and really think about it from a brand perspective and tie that into those business goals of, those people are more likely to convert. They're coming straight to your website because they want to buy from you specifically. That's the kind of customer you want, right?
Exactly. And to be honest, it's not rocket science to, find the correlation between, direct traffic and organic traffic. I mean, it's there are ways to do this on exploration reports and stuff like that. So even though we say that, not everything, there's this misattribution problem and not everything is attributed to organic when it should be attributed to organic or a certain portion. There's ways to even prove the fact that, okay, this specific customer that landed in direct was originally came from organic. They just happened to have, converted from direct. So instead of looking for, instead of being distracted by attribution, I just focus on what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, coming back around to what you said at the very top of the show, that user acquisition side of things, right? It's are we gathering more users? Are we bringing more users and getting those conversions and driving them to the right places? That's the end goal at the end of the day, right? The revenue is going to be the difference maker for the business 99% of the time. Obviously, there are some exceptions, all that kind of stuff, but the vast majority of what you and I have worked on, Alex, the vast majority, I'm sure, what the listeners and viewers are working on, it's going to be revenue being the big conversation at the end of the day, right?
And yet it's not.
It should be, right? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Cool. Well, let's finish things off with some recommendations from you, Alex. Let's get one actionable tip you'd recommend for the listeners and viewers to start doing right now.
One thing, I would say just go to your BI team if you have one, or go to the person that does your business reports. Ask them to give you access to those business reports that give you insights as to, what products or product categories drive sales and revenue. Check your rankings for high value pages or categories. If they're not good, go and improve them. If you're in SEO, you probably know what to do to improve them and get more of that high value traffic. Another thing that I like to do is I like to get campaign data from PPC teams because, as we all know, the black box of SEO is that we are limited to the page level to get conversion data, so we cannot make the connection between user came from that keyword and user converted from that keyword. So the closest thing to the closest workaround to this is to get PPC data. Find the terms that, I don't know, drive the most high value customers, drive the most conversions, drive the most revenue, and then go and check how you rank on those. And if you don't rank well enough, do your thing.
Absolutely. Spot on, mate. Can you recommend a particular tool or piece of software or anything like that you think maybe people should be using that they don't know about or aren't using enough?
Yeah. Usually what I suggest is a tool called SEO testing. It's a tool, a surprise, that does SEO test. And the way this works is, well, the main use case is that it allows you to do SEO tests, but it has a lot of, let's say, predefined reports. And the way this works is that it integrates with Google Search Console, and then it allows you to you go and make a change on a specific page, for example, and then it allows you to set up a test that tracks the before and after on the 4 GSC metrics: impressions, clicks, average position, and CTR. And then it also allows you to include, if you want, any GA4 event. So, for example, if you run an e-commerce store, you can just go and track the purchase event as part of that SEO test. So you get the full picture of the fact that, okay, I made the change, and it's resulted in, I don't know, 30% more impressions, and then 15% more clicks, and then 10 more sales. So I think that it gives you the full picture of both traffic and sales. And of course, you can play around with all that, and then you can take this piece of data and report it to stakeholders and get more budget for bigger changes and stuff like that. And another thing that tool just launched, and I'm very, very happy that they launched it, because I was the person that suggested that feature, is that they created what they call an LLM test.
Yes.
So you can essentially make the change, and then what they go and do is that they go and take the source from GA4. Right now, they only allow you to do tests for ChatGPT. So they go and take the source from GA4 for ChatGPT, and then they tell you for the before and after what the change was in referral traffic from ChatGPT. So yeah, I think that's going to be interesting to play around with it.
For sure, yeah. And I shout out to Nick and Ryan and the team at SEO Tested. They do awesome stuff. We use SEO Testing with our clients here, and it's
very nice.
literally about 2 minutes before you and I started recording, Alex. We were in the Slack talking about the LLM test, so it's very cool to find the man behind the recommendation.
Nice.
Very, very cool. Yeah, absolutely. And to round things off, recommend a book, a podcast, an article, a video. It doesn't even have to be SEO related. What have you been enjoying recently that you'd recommend to the listeners and viewers?
Search with Candour, nothing else.
Hey, there we go. Correct answer, mate. Is there anything you've been enjoying? Any even films, books, anything you've been enjoying recently?
My mind goes to SEO right now. I'm having hard to switch.
Gotta pull you out.
You know what? I'm. The first thing that comes to mind is the newsletter from Kevin Endig. I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
Original research and very nice things. And another newsletter that I signed up recently is from James Brockbank from Digital Loft, who is also a very commercially focused SEO/digital PR, and I'm very much aligned with his views. So yeah, these two.
Nice. I'll put those links in the show notes. You can go and check out both of those as well. Thank you so much for joining me, Alex. It's been a really cool conversation. Where can people find you and follow what you're up to in SEO?
Just on LinkedIn. I'm very, very active there. The name is Alex Galinos, Galinos. And yeah, I'm always happy to talk to people. I post almost every day. And yeah, I'm happy to connect.
Nice. Awesome. Thank you, man. Really appreciate you coming on. Appreciate the great conversation. And
thanks so much for having me. Thank you.
And that wraps up this week's episode. Thank you so much to Alex Galinos for joining me. Thank you so much to you for watching and listening all the way to the end. I always appreciate you guys who stick around and power through and basically get right to the end of the episode. I appreciate you guys. You're my favorite listeners and viewers. And like I said at the top of the episode, please do stay around for next week's episode where I'll be interviewing Seb Atkinson all about how to prove value and actually measure it. There's a real actual formula and spreadsheets and tables and stuff. It's very, very cool. How to demonstrate the value of SEO to your clients, to your stakeholders, and get buy-in for future projects because you can prove that value. It's a really, really awesome conversation. Seb, like I said, is in the studio and it's a lot of fun. And Seb is considerably more summery than I am, basically. He's got his shorts, he's got his shirt on, he's looking very summery. I'm in my usual all black, essentially. Looking very goth, as I often do. Anyway, over the next few weeks, I've got some fantastic guests. I've got people like Aid Holder. I've got people like Ian Ferguson. I've got all kinds of fantastic guests coming up over the next few weeks. And yeah, stay tuned for that leading up to what's coming up very, very soon. Brighton SEO in October, the live podcast that launched just a few days ago. So I'll put an ad in for that. Don't you worry. And yeah, if you haven't already got tickets and if you're going to be in Brighton on the 22nd of October, 2025, please do come and join us because it's always a fun time when Sarah Tasman and I get together and we're going to be talking about social health and how that is key to your career success. Social health is basically who you're hanging out with, who you're spending time with, and how that can help your career professionally and help you personally as well. So it's a really cool topic and I'm sure plenty of you will be already going to Brighton SEO, so hopefully be in Brighton already on the 22nd of October. So do go and check that out. I'll put a link for the tickets that are completely free, by the way, in the show notes down below or in the video description. And you can go and check those out for yourself. In the meantime, like I said, thank you so much for watching and listening. And I'll be back next week with another episode. Have a lovely week.